Welcome everyone. Let's begin. Sit comfortably. A few precious moments, and fully landing, or landing as fully as possible. And with enough practice, we start to, each of us, cultivate personal ways, methods, mantras to help ourselves land. And since it is fundamental to this practice of conscious embodiment that practice not be separate from life, then perhaps your mantras for showing up permeate your entire day. And this is one of the reasons why over the years the language that I often share, it's not mine, it's just what has come through, how to orient, how to be in the core, how to be in the pelvis. The reason these things are so on a repeating loop is because they tend to be, for me, the most powerful at cutting through into the truth of the moment. So feeling the breath within the pelvis and inside the legs, this is not just a metaphor. Since everything is interconnected, myofascially, by the collagen body, the tensegrity of the body, it's quite true. So feeling the breath touch the feet, the ankles, the knees, and the hips is a great start. This is feeling your root space. So if you can include your legs in the breath, and then you might invite the breath to be felt in the pelvis. Touching the pelvic floor with the breath, with the awareness, and the sacrum, the sacrum and the tail spreading out to make a little bit more room in the back of the pelvis for the inhale. And this will relatively quickly ground you. It'll free tension, significantly free the tension from the body, any negative tension anyway. There's positive tension too. Being aware within the pelvis is going to maybe invite you to sit up a little taller. Now that's not pushing the chest forward. It's actually pulling the sits bones back and engaging the belly backwards, especially below the navel. The hollow belly is a very powerful belly. Hollow meaning it's not carrying any surplus charge. The role of the belly is to support the experience in the deep core. The belly is a boundary with what's in front of us and what's within us, and we need to constantly integrate. So the belly needs to be transparent, but also very strong. When you pull your sitting bones back, you're getting out of the chair, getting out of the car seat. Strengthen the legs by just gently wrapping the bones with a little bit more attention. This is tone in the flesh, this attention. And pull the knees a little bit away from each other, kind of widening your seat. And you might also feel a widening at the back of the diaphragm, widening of the chest, long collarbones. And then go ahead and change the way that you're sitting. Do something different. But all of these things apply. All of these things apply. Pelvic orientation to the ground. In gravity, the legs are on. The belly is hollow to the spine. You're not tucking. You're not spilling. Subtle, complex, relational embodiment. And the beautiful reciprocity is that as we show up more and more in the core, in our root space, in the trunk of the tree of life, the mind begins to chemically change, energetically change. It's something is going on. Something is a little bit lighter, a little bit more transparent. You can feel it in the eyes physically, like blossoming behind the eyes. The heart, a little bit more free. The upper lungs, a little bit more open. I wonder how peaceful the people upstairs are right now. For those of you at home, you probably can't hear. There's a class going on upstairs and they're shouting, or the teacher's shouting, but good for them. And change the way that you're sitting. One more time. Just to always be looking for variety, right? The spice of life, right? The spice of the hips and the legs and the knees, especially the knees. The knees carry so much. So baseline mantra, pull the sits bones back a little bit. Let the glutes, the buttocks engage softly in support mode, and then let the belly engage hollow backwards. And please understand the difference between sucking the low belly in for an aesthetic or for an outcome, for some destination as a technique, and really letting the gravity of the deep belly draw, of the core, the gravity of the core draws the attention of the belly inward instead of the belly spilling outward. It's not just semantic. Now start to let the head and the shoulders explore each other very slowly. You might know the technique of rolling the head, but I would just see if you can simply loosen the cranium and start to look about your environment while the shoulders also sort of express creative space, creative movement. So the shoulder blades move around. The shoulder blades can move in all kinds of directions. Mainly it's in towards each other and away from each other, retraction and protraction respectively. The shoulder blades can rise and fall, elevation and depression of the scapula. They can rotate. If you reach your arms up over your head, they rotate a little bit. These are the main relationships of the shoulder girdle. The shoulder girdle is all that orchestrates the position of the shoulder blade. This is the platform for the arm, along with the collarbone. So as you start to just move around as if you're in water very slowly and finding the complex, slow, soft movements of neck, shoulders, head, eyes, you begin to, again, find the reorganization of the upper limbs of the tree. This is going to directly affect the sensitivity and intelligence of the gut, the small and large intestine, stimulates all of the internal organs, And especially if you're engaging and resisting your own movement. It's also going to enhance your balance, even though right now you might not feel balanced. Change the way that you're sitting while you're doing this. So gently push and pull against the fabric of your inner space, which is the same as pushing and pulling against the fabric of your outer space. Let the movements get bigger if you want. Let them get smaller if you need. So we're just rocking the boat. Now begin to orient to movement as if instead of moving your body, your upper body, you're moving the planet all over the place. You're pushing the ground forward and you're pulling the ground back, or pulling the ground over back and to the right, or moving the earth side to side with your inertia, your momentum, your power. This organizes the whole matrix of the body so that you orient. Again, orientation is so huge. Perspective is everything. It's everything. Perspective and how it affects action, understanding. Move the planet with your sitting bones and your feet. Engage everything. Really, you're going to deeply squeeze, and then you'll probably release that and get soft. You go in and out of that is totally normal. Now push and pull something more resistive than, more viscous than water. We often use the metaphor of honey. And still moving the earth around as you move through this deeper environment. Or push and pull clay. Every time you've ever seen your cat or your dog wake up from a nap and yawn and mouth wide open, the tongue hanging out, sticking out, they pause their breath and they've engaged every little fiber of their being, of their furry being. They reset their nervous system. It's called a pendiculation. It's one moment of pendiculative, which means pen, meaning everything, engaging, articulation, pendiculation. They reset their nervous system and their motor skills in about 5 seconds. And I'll bet you in an hour-and-a-half class, you might just approach that state of reset. So the more you engage now, the more you're going to get out of this hour that we have together. Then we're going to push up into a squat. Now the squat can be anything it needs to be. It can be asymmetrical or symmetrical. It can be heels up if necessary. If the heels are down, great. And see if you can move a little bit in the squat, whether the hands are on the floor or not. So rocking, finding asymmetrical movements, pivoting, and to support the knees, you're going to need to grab onto the ground with your toes. Your feet need to be more active to support the knees from below. The feet are sleepy. When they wake up, the knees get some help, and go slow. And also, of course, if you're grabbing on with your toes and you're on a mat, if you're on a rubber mat, be careful, because if you turn, you're going to jack up your toes possibly, and then your knees. So you want something a little more slippery for this if you're turning, if you're pivoting. Use the hands on the floor a lot of the time. Use the hands off the floor some of the time. So just right now, what you're doing right now is stimulating the gut, working the root space, right? Really opening the soles of the feet, which is going to be directly relevant to the quality of the transparency of the pelvic floor. The soles of the feet and the pelvic floor mirror each other. And you can get yourself into all kinds of cool, strange situations. So now you can start mixing squatting with sitting. How do you translate a squat to a seat? Maybe start getting into some pushing close to the ground. So I'm really opening it up. You guys are really opening it up now. Sitting to squatting to sitting. So this is not the detailed guidance that you'll get later. This is just seeing what you can do. Now, randomly, all of a sudden, lift the hips into any kind of a crouch, a short crouch. Move around in the crouch. You can change sides whenever you like. So the crouch is loosely defined as knees bent, that we're folding in the hips. So crouch is an extension of a fold, but it's an asymmetrical stance most of the time. One leg is leading, in other words. There's a lot of variation in how much you can turn the legs in and out from the hips, independent of each other. How much the pelvis turns, the core turns as your compass points a different direction. You can cross the midline in the crouch, as I'm doing now. You can squat in the crouch. Some crouch to squat to sitting now. You start to mix it up on your own. Go slower now, half speed and twice as strong. Really slow it down. Be more attentive to how you articulate every joint in the body. Lift the hips, crouch again if you're not. Crouch again. Go slow now, slow and strong. Move the earth with your feet and your hands. Try floating one foot off the floor as you rock, and then lift the other foot off the floor. So the basis of movement is the pulsation. It's the rhythm, the dance of movement. As a biped, just walking is a great example of pulsation. Walking. Here you are in a crouch, folding, hanging the head down, looking around, loosening the eyes. Finding now, as you crouch, the hips start to drop towards a squat, finding creative ways to sit and move through all of the transitions. Slow it down so that you can feel where that joint is not so supported and what you have to do to support it. The belly stays close to the spine and the sacrum all the time. Lift the hips, crouch. Actually, go ahead and lengthen the legs more to the fold. So the fold is going to be mostly a symmetrical stance at first, and start to move side to side in it. Put the fingertips or the palms down and pull the ground left and right with your feet and your hands to move the giant beach ball of the earth side to side. Orienting. We'll go ahead and, since you've been doing it, keep moving side to side in the fold, but start to find your footwork, meaning that the feet start to come loose from the ground, and you go really slow and find fantastic, complex, creative articulations of the ankles, the feet, the toes, the knees pointing mostly where the feet are pointing underneath. So the knee will point to the toes 99% of the time. Which basically means a hip rotation and knee rotation and foot rotation should align and agree with each other most often. Yep. Now dropping back down into your squat. This is all just open practice, everybody. You are finding your way. You're finding your dance. Just really enjoy the freedom of being able to let the intuition, lead you, guide you, and then have a seat. And lay down. All conscious, transition to laying down. Now in about, 7 or 8 minutes, 10 minutes max, close your eyes and don't check out. Give yourself a chance to feel everything that is moving. And tag words, right? There's spaciousness, abundance even, or cooling, or emptiness, or all of it. Life. It's never that far away. And the more you're able to cultivate the subtleties of that feeling, of everything that you're feeling, the more you perpetuate the positive benefits So we want to, by cultivating subtle feelings, we widen the scope and the landscape of how we can access source, how we can access that which matters most, which means that we're able to choose to let go of the subtle entanglements in the pelvic floor or in the heart or anywhere. So moving complexly, playing, dancing in complex ways informs life. That's the whole point. Source has always asked itself a question: what can I become? What's possible? The etymology of the word existence means to come into being. To come into being. It's amazing. You gotta feel it. It wants to know itself. Beautiful. Now, while you're on your back, bend your knees and walk your feet in towards your hips. And slowly float the legs up into the sky. And push the hands up towards the toes, palms towards the ceiling. Turn the biceps towards the top of your head. Walk the shoulder blades a little bit down the back. And then pushing the sky with your hands, lift the head and chest off the floor. Drop your chin a little towards your chest. You're looking right out through the inner thighs. Turn the upper body a little to the left. Take the legs, lower body a little bit to the right. Push the right hand more and the left heel more. And then slowly reverse. Empty the neck the whole time so it's only working as much as it needs to. Right leg reaches across the midline. Left hand pushes. Go back and forth and keep the low segment of the belly close to the sacrum. Breathe the side body more. Breathe the back body a lot more. Go back and forth. Go back and forth. Now, as you go to one side, you're going to turn your head to that side. As your chest looks left, then turn your head more to the left, but keep the head lifted if you can. Back and forth. Reach the leg that's closest to the midline. A little more than the one that's farther from the midline. Now as you cross, start to touch. Like you turn to your right, everybody, your legs to the left, your upper body to the right. Touch the left forearm to the right shin. And then go across the other way. Touch the right forearm to the left shin. You've got to turn your head and twist to keep the neck from getting too fatigued. Just a few more. Don't stop breathing now. I can hear you. Okay, good. Now slowly release onto your back. Put the feet down on the floor. Keep the feet relatively close to the hips and touch the heels as the knees drift away from each other slowly. So immediately release the sides of the neck and the inner groin at the same time. Empty the pelvic floor and the roof of the mouth at the same time. You're going to push your feet down into the floor a little bit without lifting the hips. Pushing the feet down on the floor engages the back, and you should feel the buttocks turn on. And the outer panels of the legs turn on. And then see if you can reach the sits bones forward and down while you keep the downward pressure through the outer blades of the feet. And drop the diaphragm towards the floor. Hollow the belly towards the sacrum. Without tucking the pelvis. So when I'm inspiring the sits bones, reaching forward and down, that's an anterior or forward rotation of the pelvis. It's very subtle. It's the opposite of tucking. You're going to keep that depth of the groin, the DEPTH of the groin, and you're going to drop the low belly to the sacrum, the middle belly to the deep lumbar, and the upper belly to the kidneys. The lumbar spine should be almost on the floor. A little bit of space under the top of the sacrum. Now, keep all of that and pull the shoulders into the ground, slide the back of the head back, and pull the knees away from each other without losing the connection through the heels. Now lift the hips off the ground. Lift the hips off the ground. Come all the way up. As you come up, take the knees very close together, the feet turn forward parallel, and pulling the shoulder blades in together, laying the fingertips over the low front ribs, dropping the low front ribs, take the hips higher. Good. Now lift both of the balls of the feet off the floor. So you're just on your heels, and rock a little bit side to side. So the whole thing rocks side to side. You have the balls of the feet off the floor. Why? Because it seemed the right thing to do in this moment. Move the hips side to side, strong belly. Keep the net of the belly very woven intelligently. Now put the feet down, put the balls of the feet down, lift the heels, and go side to side. A little bit wider, a little bit wider. Drop the heels, lift the balls of the feet, keep moving. Take all of the foot, surface of the feet, soles of the feet to the ground. Keep moving side to side as you slowly come down, brushing the sideways movement, coming down closer to the floor each time. We're not down yet. Don't let your low back touch first. Your back is not rounded. It's in a back bend. So neutral spine as you hover just off the ground, the buttocks almost touching. Let the flesh of the buttocks touch first. Then lay the lumbar spine down and extend the legs out in front of you. We want to open our central axial channel. In yoga, it's called the Sushumna, and it translates, one translation is as one of the 8 principal rays of the sun. It's this longitudinal experience that doesn't change if you're laying down versus standing up. It's always with you, upside down even. It includes the inseams of the legs. Physiologically, it includes the pelvic floor, it includes the space in the deep pelvis and the deep belly up between the kidneys. It includes the heart, the diaphragm. It includes the pericardium and then the voice. It includes, of course, the organ of the brain. But all of this is biogeography. Feel the central channel as an open, columnal space, like the inside of giant bamboo, quiet and intelligent, deep in life. And is it possible to give that channel more space? Can it hollow and be surrounded by, just like the outer surface of bamboo is very strong, flexible. And this metaphor becomes a reality when your body changes its tone to support this understanding, this reality, that what wants to happen. Very different than just laying on the floor. All right, everyone. So take your time, find a creative transition up to sitting. And let's get a little more specific now. So we're going to sit cross-legged with the right leg in front, but take the right leg out a little further so that if you look at your right knee, it's bent about 90 degrees. And we're just going to, so it's a good way to start when you're working with movement is to release the pelvis back first. And there's the sits bones hooked forward, right? And then you grab onto the ground with your sitting bones and pull the ground back and lean into it. Pelvis first, and then stay upright. We're going to rock a little bit side to side. Lean over your left knee, bringing the left elbow forward so you can put the shoulder on the knee. And you're going to keep some downward pressure through the outer edge of the right foot the whole time. And come back up. And then you're going to sweep through over the right leg and then through the middle over to the left again. So the left will be our anchor point. Then sweep forward in reverse. Go over to the right. Come all the way up. all the way up, and then lay over on the left knee. So we'll reverse every time the left shoulder comes down. Come back up, lean over to your right, go slow now, slow. Now when you lean over the right knee, you've got to really push the outer blade of the right foot down with everything you've got. Lean through the middle, passing over to the left, and the left shoulder on the left knee. And reverse. Come through to the right, back up over the right knee, all the way around to the left. Lay the left shoulder down. Don't let the head get stuck. Reverse, come back up. Counterclockwise as seen from above. Lean over the right knee, pass through the middle, strong in the legs over to the left side, lay the shoulder down. And then clockwise, through the middle to the right, over the right knee, coming up, over to the left, and lay it down. Reverse, coming back up. Oh, so good in the obliques. The obliques are a complex cross-woven 2 layers of muscle that surround the lower torso. So on your underwear, you're reversing every time the left shoulder touches the left knee. You want to feel the corset of the lower torso down into the pelvis, into the interior pelvis, into the buttocks and the lower belly. And you're really looking to strengthen and breathe and reorganize this whole trunk of the tree. Let the head look about slowly, minding the eyes, the quality in the eyes, the quality in the cervical vertebrae, keeping them soft and open, reversing every time the left shoulder touches the knee. Move from the pelvis as much as you can. And the next time you come back up, whichever direction you're going, just pause upright. Yeah, now set the left leg. Bring it in close. Put more weight on the left leg, assisting with your right hand. Find yourself in a squat with the right foot leading. Okay, and then lift the hips and rock in a short crouch, like we did earlier. Now, sky's the limit here. As you move forward and back, the right foot is leading. Again, most of your variation is going to be in how much you turn the hips in and out relative to each hip individually turning in and out. How much the feet can play, the heels lift, the balls of the feet lift. When you rock forward, pick up the left foot. Put the palms all the way down. Load the hands. When you rock back, lift the right foot off the floor. Your fingertips on the ground. That's not so easy to lift the right foot, is it? Rock forward, lift the left foot. You can play around in these variations. Rock back and lift the right foot on the ground, fingertips on the floor, or palms down. So on your own, rocking in the crouch. Pulsation is rocking forward and back. Lifting the light foot on either side of the equation. Really working the legs, also noticing how the belly really lifts. It should be lifting away from the floor towards the spine as you're folding in the crouch. Try different variations to help balance out anything that's becoming fatigued. Now, drop your right foot just behind you and come into a squat with the left foot leading. Good. And have a seat. Left leg is going to be in front, left knee bent about 90 degrees. All right. So begin by releasing the pelvis back, hollowing the belly, okay? And then pulling the ground with the sits bones as you sit up, and lean in on the right side, letting the right tricep shoulder touch the right knee. Okay, and then from here we're going to come back up and moving over to your left side around the orbit, pushing the outer blade of the left foot down pretty enthusiastically as you pass through the middle now. Hello, left lateral hamstring, right shoulder on the right knee, and then reverse that movement, coming back around counterclockwise as seen from above, through the middle to the left, coming up all the way around to the right, laying the right shoulder down. And just continue like that on your own, reversing every time the shoulder lands. Try to orient to the pelvic movement so that if you can go beyond that, that's enough, right? Just orienting to how does the movement come from within the pelvis through something like this, especially when the hips are tight. But go beyond that to moving the planet around with your sitting bones, which is mostly an orbital movement here. So like the sits bones are like twin paintbrushes painting ovals on the ground together. Let the eyes be clear, whether they're open or closed, the eyes are clear. Again, working this strong fabric of the lower torso, the obliques. There's a deeper layer inside the trunk wall, the transversus abdominis. It's very much relevant to core and breath, how they get along. The next time you come up, just pause. Set your right leg. Okay, use your left hand. Come into a squat, left foot leading. Go ahead and lift the hips to a short crouch. Left leg stays in front. We're going to just move around, mostly pulsing forward and back. So after a few moments, you'll already start to put the palms down, and when you rock forward, lift the back foot off the floor. When you rock back, lift the left leg off the floor. Really good for the left hip flexors. Any variations you find, however big or small, let them come about creatively. That's what they want. You got to feel that impulse so it can translate clearly. Sort of being danced in life, having the discernment to know what is animating you. Letting source animate you rather than the cultural mind. Empty the neck, folks. Oh, yes. Isn't this fun? Oh, yeah. Did 16, 17 hours in a car over 3 days. Got to get the car seat off of the butt. Good. Now, go ahead and drop the left foot just behind. Come down into a squat, right foot leading. And have a seat. Now sit for a moment, legs crossed. And once again, let the pelvis fall back. The low bend of the belly hugs backwards without tightening. It's an emptiness. It's a tone that is empty. And then you sit up in the pelvis, right? Just upright. And then the belly as a whole just hollows back underneath. There's nothing to hold on to here. There's every reason, however, to show up. So feel what Ida Rolf called the invisible skyhook. What is that natural buoyancy when we show up in the core that lifts the crown off of the spine and away from the earth, while it also invites the sitting bones to push down. Stacking the spine and gravity, lots of space between the vertebrae. The nervous system loves all that space. It gets to traction by being in the core. You traction just by being in the core. Literally, water moves from the vertebrae back into the intervertebral nuclei. These little marbles of myofascia that are 85% water that are in between the vertebrae. in the center of the intervertebral discs, they carry water. When you're compressed, that water is squeezed out of your spine and moves into the bones of the vertebrae. When you traction and breathe in this way that you are right now in this moment, you're lengthening the space between the vertebrae. The water returns to the intervertebral spaces. It's called spinal imbibition, and it's a miracle. Okay, everyone, we're going to stand up. So take your time coming up to standing. And look down on your feet. Neutral stance, feet parallel, pretty close together. So understanding what a neutral stance is huge. This is a better hip opener throughout the day than anything that I know. So feet parallel, especially when you walk. Unlock the knees. So when the knees drift forward, when you unlock them, you grab onto the ground with your feet and let the sits bones pull back a little. And then let the middle body gently come in. This corset around the equatorial line of the body here is coming in gently. It's a lift of the heart, a lift of the lungs. Now, take your right foot back just a little and begin to pulse backwards and forwards. So keep the stance short. The back leg is going to naturally turn out 30, 40, 50 degrees. Not too far out. So we still want the pelvis to orient to the front. When you're pushing forward with the pelvis, pulling back, pushing back, pulling forward, it's all relative. But again, straight away orient to pulling the ground back with your feet to move forward and push the ground forward to move back. This is going to strengthen your entire system and ground you tremendously, profoundly. Pull the earth to move forward, pulling with the feet, and then push the earth with the feet to move back. Now, what we're going to do is next time you rock forward, take your right foot out in front of you and sit down like you're in a chair. Touch the right toe. Sit as deep as you can in the left leg. Now stay low and then sweep your right leg all the way around behind you, cross the midline, and stay upright. Now, if you lean back and tuck your right knee underneath your left, you can actually balance here and kind of float the left foot and then catch the foot with the right hand or maybe both hands and pull against the foot. Push the foot into the hand. Now release the foot, swing the left leg around behind you and cross the midline into a crossing crouch. Now push the left foot further back, crossing the midline. And the feet are parallel, even though they're far apart, crossing the midline. Move around in this for a moment, however you like, to sort of see what's possible, see what wants to move, what wants to become unstuck. Now sliding the left foot or both feet further away from each other. Begin to turn to your left just enough until the feet are roughly parallel. You have a wide-ish stance. And move around in this for a moment, mostly side to side. So remember, footwork and hip rotation are some of the primary navigations. And we're going to drop the hips over onto the right side into a side squat. Now, really active right toes. You got to grab onto the floor with the right toes to strengthen the right foot, to support the right knee. The left knee is unlocked. Pulling the left heel down to the ground. And then turn towards your left leg. Spin the right leg forward and then climb out into a lunge, left leg leading. Now move around in the lunge creatively. Again, so a lot of your variation is going to come about by way of self-balancing places that are tired. They need something else, usually a complementary rotation or complementary contracted space. Then turn a quarter turn to your right, wide legs again. Drop into a side squat over the left leg. Put the hands on the floor in between the knees. kind of rock a little bit side to side, pushing the knees against, pulling the knees into the elbows, resisting with the elbows. The back of the right heel pulling down. The neck is quiet. The eyes are soft. And then you take the right hand out of the way and slide your right foot in really close to a squat with the right leg leading. Yeah. Good. Now from here, we're going to duck walk the left leg out in front of us, opening the stance up a little bit. And then lift the hips into a crouch with the left leg leading. Now rock forward and back in the crouch as you play in the legs and hips and feet. Play with how the hands touch or don't touch. Keep the belly hollow to the spine. And what we're going to do is rock forward and float the right foot off the floor and take the hands off the floor and stand up balancing on your left leg. Slow, come all the way up, come all the way up. And then just both feet together. Right back to where we started. So you'll find your movement standing to release residual tension. Right? So just a little bit of rocking side to side, shifting your weight from one leg to the other. Whatever it is for you. And you're allowing by this movement to release residual tension, residual patterning. Even if it was positive, because it's over, right? It's already come to pass. Direct breath to the places that are more sticky, like maybe the sacrum, the hips, or wherever it's showing up for you. So for me, from all that driving, it's the sacral plexus, right? So a little bit of side-to-side movement, buttocks turn on, sits bones back, belly deep, getting the breath to come up the inseams of the legs into the face of the sacrum. Okay, now we're going to drop the left foot a little bit back and start your pulsing backwards and forwards. Pulling the ground to move forward, pushing the ground forward to move back. As you rock forward and back, you're going to start to bend the knees more and lower deeper in the rocking. So you're really working the legs. Like look how low I'm at right now. Because what we're about to do, you're going to rock back. And then take a little step forward as you drop even lower with your left foot, toes pointed. It's like a deep cat stance. Then arc the left foot all the way around behind you. Bring it way across the midline. Then stand up on the left leg and hover the right foot off the floor. Catch with the left hand or both hands. I'm just giving you ideas. Now release that right foot, swing it around behind you, cross the midline into a crouch. Fingertips down or palms down. And lengthen the diagonal space between the feet a little bit more as you move around here. Start to turn a quarter turn or more to your right, widening the stance as you go. So the feet end up wide and parallel in a fold. Rock side to side here. Again, balancing, equalizing. Shift your weight over to your left side. Drop into a side squat on the left leg. Turn towards your right leg. Now really strong in the left foot as you push out into a lunge, right leg leading. Somebody say something. Are you out there? Now, quarter turn to your left, wide legs. Shift over to the right leg into a side squat. Don't lock the left knee. Slide the left foot in close to a squat. Duck walk, your right leg further forward, opening the stance up. Lift the hips, crouching, right leg leading. Now pitch your weight forward onto the right leg, hover the left foot. Take the hands off the floor. Slowly come up to standing, balancing on the right leg the whole time. Both feet down. Do what you need to do. Is everyone's heart rate up? Yeah. Good. So let the heart have more space to beat its rhythm. Mostly you can do that by breathing the deep belly wider, the kidneys wider, and the back of the heart and lungs wider. Okay, here we go. Drop the right foot back, picking up the pace a little bit. Rock forward and back, and each time you do so, get lower and lower. Lower and lower. And then rock back really low, and then stay low and step your right foot just out in front. Point the toes. Drop even deeper. Sweep the leg around behind you, crossing the midline. Stand up, balance on your right leg. The left foot hovers, grab the foot. Pull and push. Soft eyes. Release the left leg around behind you, cross the midline, crouching, moving. While you're here, let the feet move further and further apart as much as you can. Very challenging in the hips. Begin to turn to your left just enough to find a wide-ish fold. Shift over to the left leg and squat. Side squat. Good. Now, turn towards the right leg. Come into a lunge. So you may have noticed we reversed the way that we did the side squat. It doesn't matter. Within the needs of the moment, turn to your left a quarter turn and shift over to your right leg. Side squat. Slide the left foot in close to a squat, left foot leading. Duck walk the right leg way out in front. Lift the hips, crouch. Right leg is in front now. On this side, on this iteration. Crouching, right leg leading. Pitch your weight forward, balance on the right leg, float the left foot. Deja vu, coming up, standing. Balancing the whole time. And put the left foot down. Good. Drop the left foot a little bit back. Pulse backwards and forwards, dropping lower and lower and lower. Lower. Rock back really low. Then the left foot out in front. Arc the left foot way out, back and across. Stand up on the left leg. Right knee stacked on top. Hover the right foot. Catch the foot. Release the right leg around behind you, cross the midline, really deep, crouch, cross. Slide the feet further apart, turn to your right a bit until you're in a wide fold. Rock over to the right side, side squat. Stay oriented to the ground, really interact with the ground. Turn towards the left leg into a lunge. We go. Quarter turn to your right. Wide legs and side squat on the left leg. Slide the right foot in close to a squat, right foot leading. Duck walk the left foot way out in front. Lift the hips in a crouch, left leg stays in front. Balance on the left leg, hover the right foot, hands off the floor, coming up, breathe, don't go static. Balancing the whole time standing, put both feet down. Self-regulate by self-release. Self-release is the new control. Yeah. So you'll be static in the sacrum, you'll be static in the hips. Move side to side a little bit here. Notice you might lean into one leg and the other heel comes off the floor a little bit. Feet parallel, look at your feet. Sometimes you won't know they're turned out so often. Look down. Okay, chapter 2. Here we go. So, start with feet parallel and close. Very soft, very quiet. By coming in. Just a few moments before we dive into this last sequence. Balance on your right leg and just touch the left toes to the floor out in front of you. And then take the left foot back and fall into a cat stance. Now stay low. Take your left foot forward and go into a deep cat, like what we were just doing. All right, now take the left foot just behind you into a squat. Wasn't that cool? Let's do it again. Come on. I didn't make this up. It just happens. All right, so left foot back, rock back. Now rock forward. Balance on your right leg. Just touch, touch. Boink. Then drop back. Cat stance. Then go lower into a really deep, like an Utkatasana, one-legged. And then stay low. Take the left foot just behind you in a squat. Oh my God. Okay. Now take the right hand down. You're going to take this right leg way out over here. Put the hip on the floor. Now, the right hip is down. You ready? Now turn your right bicep all the way out. Pull the shoulder blade into the spine and down. And you're going to come out and flip all the way over into plank. Left leg crosses over and you're in plank. Step your right foot forward into a lunge. Play around in the lunge. Put your left hand down. Look off to the right in front of your right shin. Slide the left leg through into a lunge with the right leg still turned out. Left hand down. Stay here for a moment. Now, put the left hip down on the floor. Have a seat as you turn towards the left leg. Your right knee will stack on top. Lean back and lift the knees. And then lean back and lift the knees more. And then let the legs fly up in front of you. And then set up a squat, left foot leading. Pause. And stand. Okay. So, touch the right toes just out in front. Drop the right foot back. Cat stance. Stay low. Go even lower as you drop in. Slide the right foot out in front. Touch. Toes pointing. And slide the right foot just back for a squat. Stay here. Let's do it again just because we did it on the other side. Stand up and arm a Virgo. All right? Touch the right toes out in Drop back, cat stance. Stay low, deep cat. Squat. Left foot's in front. Stay. Put the left hand down. You're going to swing your left leg way out to the left. Put the hip down. Cross the right leg over. One hand come up into plank. Both hands down eventually. Left foot forward in a lunge. Move around here for a moment. Self-regulation is self-release, self-balance. More by the movement of energy than by the mind's constraints and concepts. Now put your right hand down. Look left. Slide the right leg through into a lunge. Left leg stays turned out. Lower the right hip down. Turn to face the right leg. Left knee on top. Without the hands, knees up. Lean back. Float. Uncross. Set up a squat. Right foot leading. Come up. And stand. Walk around. Stay in your area. Walk around. Shake a little bit. Bounce. Bounce. Put it all back together again by bouncing. Okay. Feet down. Look. Parallel. Zero rotation. Neutral. Feel the buzz. It's a good natural thing. Drop your left foot back. Okay, now touch, left foot forward. Just barely. Now drop back, left foot back, cat stance. Whatever that is for you. Just stay lower, deeper cat. Left foot back, squat. You put your right hand down. Turn to your right, swing your right leg way out, sit down, cross the left leg over the top, come up one-handed into a plank, maybe two hands. Right foot forward lunge. Moving in the lunge, great for so many reasons. Put your left hand down, look across the right shin. That's where your left leg is going. Slide it through. Lay the left hip down, roll into a seat, right knee on top. Lift the knees. Lift the knees. See how that works? Lift the knees and float. Uncross. Squat, left foot leading. Slowly stand. And 0. Drop the right foot back just a touch. Touch the right toes forward. Drop the right foot back, cat stance. Deeper now, and then deeper still. Right foot forward, deep cat. Right foot back, squat. Good. Now, put the left hand down. Left leg way out to the left. Lower the left hip down, cross the right leg over. Come up in plank, left hand or both. Left foot forward lunge. Bonus points if you stomp the floor. Put the right hand down, look across your left shin. That's where your right leg is going. As you slide through, lay the right hip down. Turn to your left sitting, left knee on top. Lean back. Lift the knees. Float the legs. Squat, right foot in front. And stand. Last time, everyone. Okay. Left toes touch. Forward. Pull back. Cat stance. Deeper cat. Left foot forward. Left foot back, squat. Right hand down. Look right. Slide the right leg way out. Sit on the right hip. Cross the left leg over. Reposition the right neck. Come up. Plank. Right leg leading. Lunge. Put the left hand down. Look to your right, slide your left leg where you're looking, left hip down, turn and sit, right knee ends up on top of the long left leg. Lift the knees, float the legs. Good. Squat, left foot leading. And stand. Last time. Soft now. Right toes touch forward. Pull right foot back, cat. Stay low. Deeper cat, right foot leading. Right foot behind, squat. Left hand down. Turn. Sit. Right leg crosses over. Plank. Left leg forward in a lunge. Find your play. Right hand down, look to your left. Slide the right leg through to where you're looking. Lower the right hip. Sit, left knee on top. Lean back, lift, float. Squat, right foot leading. And stand. Good, 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 good. So good. Let's do one back bend here. Neutral stance, feet parallel. Groin deep. Pre-engage everything. Pull the earth back to move the hips forward and lean back. Now when you lean back, you're gonna, it's a micro bounce, just a slight little pulsing bounce. So that the body reorganizes more quickly when there's rhythm. Now lift the right heel. Put that right heel down, lift the left heel, maybe side to side in a micro pulse. Switch sides, right heel up. Look up, look back, left heel up. Both heels up, just kidding. Okay, good. Now come down slow, slow, slow. Keep bouncing. Slow, keep bouncing. To the squat, keep bouncing. Keep moving. Bounce in the squat. Just really don't hammer your joints. It's a tiny little thing. Have a seat. Lay down and rest. To allow, the key word allowance. Allowance for the abundance of the movement of what you're feeling. We've heard it before, and we have to get out of the way of life so we can enjoy it. Give your bones to your breath and to the earth. Feel the deep lift of the immune system as the lymphatic movement is so global now, so huge within you that it's quite a boost. Let the lungs be warm and transparent and relaxed. And the heart between them. Empty the soles of your feet and empty the pelvic floor and the roof of the mouth and the soles of the hands and the space behind the eyes. Feel your skin as a soft, clear boundary, a shiny coat, supple, vibrant. Every exhalation, every follicle and every hair laying down and relaxing. Self-regulation is a mastery of self-release. Such rich spaciousness, awareness. It's the same thing. Carry it forward by just being aware of the first movements that begin your transition back into the flow of your day, back up to sitting. Finger, the spine, and returning to a seat for just a moment. Silently expressing your gratitude or whatever you want to offer. Beautiful practice, beautiful movement, beautiful dance, everyone. Thank you for sharing yourselves. And you're welcome, and your Saturday. It is Saturday, right? Yeah. Blessings. I'll see you soon. Oh, yummy.